Hello everyone, today our topic is how to create or update Google Calendar event from Google Sheets. So in my Google Sheet, I have a database in which I'm going to add the details of the new event that I want to create or update in my Google Calendar. So whenever I'm going to add a new details of an event in Google Sheet, then automatically I'm going to capture that event details and I'm going to use these event details to create or update new event in Google Calendar. So for that, I have to build a simple connection between Google Sheets and Google Calendar. So for building this connection, I'm going to use Pabbly Connect, which is an amazing software for automation and integration. In Pabbly Connect, I have to use trigger and action. In trigger application, I'm going to use Google Sheets. In action application, I'm going to use Google Calendar. So how I'm going to build this connection? For that, let me take you to my computer screen. I hope all you can see my computer screen, and today we are going to see that how we can create or update Google Calendar events from Google Sheets. So what I want is that in my Google Sheets, I have a database of Google Calendar events, and in this database, I'm adding the details of new events that I want to create or update details of event that I want to update in Google Calendar. So here, this is my database, and in this I have all these columns. So in this, I'm adding the details like event title, event ID, event description, start date and time, and date and time. And if I want to add any guest in my event, then I have this column for that too. And in the last, I have this column of new/update. So whether if I want to create a new event, then I have this option of new, or if I want to update my event, then I have this option of update. So in these columns, I am going to add the details of my events. Now what I want is that as I add a new row with the event details, then automatically I will either create a new event or update the details of an already created event. So for doing this automatically, we have to use an amazing automation and integration software that is Pabbly Connect. So with the help of Pabbly Connect, what we are going to do is we are going to build a simple connection between Google Sheet and Google Calendar, and that too without any coding and programming skills. So after using Pabbly Connect, what is going to happen is that whenever I'm going to add a new row with the details of an event in my Google Sheet, then automatically a new event will be created or gets updated in my Google Calendar. So for using Pabbly Connect, what I have to do is I have to open a new tab and search for pabbly.com/connect, and this will take us to this landing page of Pabbly Connect. Here we have two options, sign in and sign up for free. If you don't have any account with Pabbly, you can just sign up for free, and it will take only 2 minutes of your time and you will get 100 of tasks free every month. Or if you already have an account, you can just sign in and you will get to see this page. So these are all the apps that Pabbly offers, and we are going to use Pabbly Connect here. For that, I have to click here on this Access Now button under Pabbly Connect, and this will direct us to the dashboard of Pabbly Connect. Here, this is the workflow section, and we can see all the workflows that we will create here. And this is the folder section. We can create new folder here, and we can save any workflow in any particular folder that we want. Now here, I want to create a new workflow. For that, I have to click here on this Create Workflow button, and this window will pop up. Here I have to name my workflow, so I'm going to name it as my objective, which is to create or update Google Calendar event from Google Sheets. Now I have to select the folder where I want to save my workflow. So I'm going to open this tab, and here we will see all the folders that we have created in our Pabbly Connect account. And in this, I'm going to use this particular folder of Google Calendar. So I'm going to select this, and I'm going to click on Create. And it will take us to this most important window of our workflow. Here we have two boxes, trigger and action. So these are the two main principles on which our workflow works on. And trigger says when this happens, action says do this. So trigger is going to be the first step that will get executed in our workflow, and action will just follow that. So we have to set up our trigger first, and here my trigger application is going to be Google Sheets. So I'm going to select Google Sheets here, and now I have to give a trigger event. So I'm going to open this tab, and new or updated spreadsheet row will be my trigger event. So I'm going to select this. And now I have to connect Google Sheet with Pabbly Connect, and for that I have to use this webhook URL, and this webhook URL is going to work as a bridge between Google Sheets and Pabbly Connect. And for connecting these two accounts, I have to follow all this instruction. And first I'm going to copy this webhook URL. I will go back to my Google Sheet. And for connecting my Google Sheet with Pabbly Connect, what I have to do is I have to go to extensions, and I need this particular extension of Pabbly Connect webhooks. And if you don't have this extension, then what you need to do is you need to go to add-ons. You have to open Get Add-ons, and this will take us to Google Workspace Marketplace. Here what we are going to do is we are going to search for our extension, which is Pabbly Connect webhook. So we are going to open this, and our extension will look like this. So you need to install this particular extension, and after installing this, you have to close this window. You have to go back to extensions, And in the extensions, you will find your extension like this. And in your extension, you have to go to initial setup. And in initial setup, we will see two tabs, webhook URL and trigger column. So first we have to give the webhook URL that we have copied from Pabbly Connect. So I'm going to paste that here. And now I have to give a trigger column. So the trigger column will be your final data column on which if the data is added, the whole of that row data will be sent to the webhook URL. So here what is going to happen is that in my sheet, I have the last data entry column, which is column G. And whenever a data will be filled in that particular column, then automatically the data of that whole row will be sent to my webhook URL, which is connected to Pabbly Connect. So my data will be sent automatically to Pabbly Connect. So here my trigger column is column G. And now I have to click on send test. And here my test data has been sent successfully. Now I have to click on submit. And my setup is configured successfully. Now I have to close this. I will go back to Pabbly Connect. And here we can see I have received this response. So in the response, I have the trigger column, which is column G. I have the start date and time. And also I have the end date and time. So these date and time are in UTC format. And what we are going to do is we are going to create an event in Asia Kolkata time zone. And you can create your event in any particular time zone that you want. But you have to give the date in UTC time zone. Now here I have the spreadsheet name, which is Google Calendar Events. I have the sheet name. I have the sheet ID. And I have this column of new or update. In this, I have this value of new. So what we have to do is we have to create a new event in Google Calendar. So we have the guest ID, which is demo@pabblytools.com. So we have to add this as a guest. We have the event title, which is team webinar. We have the event description, which is it's a webinar for understanding the new software. And we don't have the event ID here. So what we are going to do is we are going to use this particular column of event ID to filter out our events on the basis if we want to create a new event or we want to update an event. So if we are not getting any event ID, that means we have to create a new event and we have to update this column after creating a new event, and we have to fill that event ID in this particular column in Google Sheet. Or if we are getting this event ID, that means that event is already has been created in my Google Calendar account and I have to update that event with particular details. So here I don't have the event ID, so I have to create a new event. So here what I'm going to do is I'm going to first set up my actions tab. So I'm going to open this tab, and here my action application is going to be router. So I'm going to select router, and here I have to give an action event. So I'm going to open this tab, and conditionally run will be my action event. So I'm going to select this, and now I'm going to connect router by Pabbly. So I have to click here on connect. So here by using router, what I'm going to do is that I'm going to create two different routes. And in the routes, what I'm going to do is if I'm not getting the event ID, that means I have to create a new event. So I'm going to create a new route for new events, and also I'm going to create a new route for already exist events, and I have to update that event. So here I have two routes, so I'm going to rename this. So I have to click here on this three dot button. I'm going to rename this, and I'm going to clear this, and I'm going to rename it as new event. I'm going to update this. And now what I have to do is I have to set up my filter and actions tabs here to create a new event. So I have to click here on this set filter and actions tabs. Now I have this tab of filter. So what I have to do is I have to set up my filter here. And in the filter, what I'm going to do is I'm going to use that particular column that I've received from Google Sheet of event ID. So if that event ID column is empty, that means that I have to create a new event in Google Calendar. So I'm going to use that as a filter. So I have to select my label, filter type, and value. So for the label, I have to open this tab. I have to open this response of Google Sheets. And in this, I have this particular column, which is going to be my label, which is event ID. So I'm going to select this. And here my filter type will be is empty. So if this label or this column is empty, then this means that I have to create a new event. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on Save and Send Test Request button. And here my status is success and my condition is true. So my event ID column is empty. So I have to create a new event in Google Calendar. So I have to set up my actions tab here. So I have to click here. And here my action application is going to be Google Calendar. So I'm going to select Google Calendar here. And now I have to give an action event. So I'm going to open this tab, and create an event will be my action event. So I'm going to select this. And I have to connect Google Calendar with Pabbly Connect. So I'll click here on connect. I will click on add new connection, and I will sign in with Google. And here I have to click on allow to give access to my account. So I'm going to click here. And my connection here is successful. Now what I need to do is I need to first select my calendar. So for that, let me take you to my Google Calendar. And this is my Google Calendar. And in this, I'm using this particular calendar of Dambo. So I have to select this. Now we'll go back to Pabbly Connect. And here I have to select my calendar. So I have to open this tab. And in this tab, you will find all the calendars that are connected with your Google Calendar account. So I'm going to use this particular calendar of Demo. So I'm going to select this. Now I have to fill all these details to create a new event in Google Calendar. So here what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the details that I've received from my Google Sheet response, and I'm going to map those details here. So for that I have to use mapping. And what mapping is a technique through which I can retrieve the data from the previous steps, and the data that is changing will get replaced with the new data in the real time. So for mapping I have to click here. I will open this response of Google Sheets, and in this response I have this event title which is Team Webinar. So I'm going to select this. Now similarly I am going to give the description of my event. So I'm going to open this. I have to open this response of Google Sheets, and here this is my event description, which is it's a webinar for understanding the new software. So I'm going to select this. Now I have to give the start date and time and end date and time. So I'm going to click here. I will open this response of Google Sheets, and here this is my start date and time. So this start date and time and the end date and time is in UTC time zone and in this particular format, and we need to have the start date and time in this particular format only. Now I have to give the end date and time. So I'm going to click here. I will open this response of Google Sheets, and this is my end date and time. So I'm going to map this. So my start date and time and end date and time in is UTC time zone. But what I want is I want my time zone to be in Asia Kolkata. So what is going to happen is in Asia Kolkata time zone, there is going to be a difference of plus 530 hours. So for the time zone, I have to open this tab, and here I'm going to search for my time zone, which is Asia Kolkata. So I'm going to select this, and I'm going to create my event in Asia Kolkata time zone. And now I have this option of guest. So I have the email address of my guest in my Google Sheet. So I have to map that here. So I have to click here. I will open this response of Google Sheets, and this is my guest, which is demo@pabblytudes.com. So I'm going to map this. So this is going to be my guest. So I have filled all the required details here. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on Save and Send Test to Quick button. And here we can see I have received this response. So this is a positive response, and this means that I have created a new event in my Google Calendar account. Now to check this, let me take you to my Google Calendar. So here we can see that I have created this particular event from 2:30 PM to 3:30 PM in Asia Kolkata time zone. So I'm going to open this event, and this is the event of Team Webinar, and I have this description which says it's a webinar for understanding the new software. I have the guest, which is demo@pabblytudes.com, and this is my calendar, which is demo, and the timing is 2:30 PM to 3:30 PM. So this time is in Asia Kolkata time zone. That's why this is different from my start date and time and end date and time. So here we can see that I have successfully created this new event in my Google Calendar account, and I have used all the details that I have received from my Google Sheet response in Pabbly Connect. So here my connection between Google Sheet and Google Calendar is working successfully. Now what we are going to do is I'm going to show you if we have already created an event in our Google Calendar account, then how we are going to update that by using Google Sheet and Google Calendar. So here I have this event of team meeting. So this is my event, which is of team meeting, and it is scheduled at 30th March 1:30 PM to 4:30 PM, and I have the guest as test@pabblytudes.com. I have the description. It's a meeting for discussing about the ending of this financial year. So this is in the same calendar, which is of demo. So here what I'm going to do is I'm going to update this, and in this event what I'm going to update is I'm going to update my guest, and I'm going to update the time of this meeting. So for this what I have to do is I have to first close this. I will go back to my Google Sheet, and in my Google Sheet I'm going to add the details of that event. First I will have the event title, which is team meeting. Now I'm going to give the event ID. So this is my event ID. Now I'm going to fill all these details. So here in my Google Sheet I have added all these details of my event that is already has been created in Google Calendar. So here I have the event title, which is team meeting. I have the event ID. I have the description. It's a meeting for discussing about the ending of this financial year. I have the start date and time, end date and time, and the guest. But here I have changed the details of my start date and time, end date and time, and the guest. I have the guest as dummy@pabblytudes.com, and I have also changed the date and time that I want to update in my Google Calendar event. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back to Pabbly Connect. Now first what I have to do is that in that response I also have received the event ID. So this is my event ID, and now what I want to do is that I want to update this event ID in that particular column in my Google Sheet where that event ID column is empty. So for that what I have to do is I have to set up one more action step here, and here my action application is going to be Google Sheet. So I'm going to select Google Sheets here, and I have to give an action event. So I'm going to open this tab, and here update row will be my action event. So I'm going to select this, and I'm going to connect Google Sheet with Pabbly Connect. So I'll click here on connect. I will click on add new connection, and I will sign in with Google. And now I have to click on allow to give access to my account. So I'm going to click here, and my connection here is successful. Now first what I have to do is I have to first select my spreadsheet. So I'm going to open this tab, And in this tab, I will find all the spreadsheets that are connected with my Google Sheet account. So I'm going to use this particular spreadsheet of Google Calendar events. So I'm going to select this. And here we can see all the details have changed according to my spreadsheet. Now I have to first give the row index. So for the row index, I'm going to map that from the response of Google Sheet. So I have to open this response. And here, this is my Google Sheet response. So I'm going to open this. And in this response, I have this row index. So this is going to be the row index that I want to update. So I'm going to select this. And in this particular row index, what I have to do is I have to update the value of column which is in event ID. So I'm going to map my event ID that I have received from creating a new event in Google Calendar. So I have to click here. I will open this response of Google Calendar. And here this is my event ID. So I'm going to map this. And this is the only value that I want to update in my Google Sheet row. So I'm going to scroll down and I'm going to click on Save and Send Test Request button. And here I have this response. So this is a positive response and this means that I have updated the event ID automatically in my Google Sheet. Now to check this, let me take you back to Google Sheet. And here we can see that I have updated this value of event ID in my Google Sheet. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to update the value of this particular event that is already has been created in Google Calendar. For that, let me take you back to Pabbly Connect. And here I'm going to close this. And here I'm going to open this response of Google Sheet. And I'm going to recapture webhook response. So I'm going to click here. I will click on yes. And here it is waiting for webhook response. So how we are going to get this webhook response? For that, let me take you back to my Google Sheet. And here what we have to do is that whenever we are going to add a new row in our Google Sheet, then we want to send that details automatically to our Pabbly Connect account. So for that, we have to go back to extensions. I will go back to Pabbly Connect webhooks. And in this, we have this option of send on event. So we have to enable this option. So I'm going to click here on this send on event option. And here I have enabled this option. So after enabling this option, what is going to happen is that whenever I'm going to add a new row with the details of an event, which is going to be get updated or going to create a new event, then automatically that event details or that row data will be sent to Pabbly Connect. Now here I have this column of new or update. So I want to update this event. So I'm going to give the title of update here. And I'm going to click enter. So I have filled my last data entry column. Now what is going to happen is that automatically the data of this row will be sent to Pabbly Connect. Now let's go back to Pabbly Connect. And here we can see I have received this new response. So here I have the trigger column, which is column G. I have all the same details. I have the start date and time. I have the new or updated column value, which is update. I have the guest, which is dummy@pabblytudes.com. I have the event title, which is team meeting. I have the event ID. And also I have the event description. So my event description is, it's a meeting for discussing about the ending of this financial year, and I have the end date and time. Now here what has changed is that in the event ID column, I have this value. So this means that this event has been already created in Google Calendar account and I want to update this in my Google Calendar account. So for that, what I have to do is I have to go back to my router and here I have to add one more route. Now I'm going to rename this and I'm going to rename this as update event. So this is going to be my route name and I'm going to update this. Now I'm going to set my filter and actions tab. So I'm going to click here and now I have to set up my filter. So I'm going to use the same label. So I have to open this response. I have to open the response of Google Sheets. And here I have this column of event ID. So I'm going to select this. And here in the filter type, what I'm going to do is I'm going to open this tab. And here my filter type is going to be is not empty. So I'm going to select this. So if my event ID column is not empty, then that means that that event is already has been created in my Google Calendar account and I have to update that event in Google Calendar. So here I have to click on Save and Send Test Request button. And here we can see my status is success and the message is condition is true. So this means that this event is already has been created in Google Calendar and I'm going to update this event with the new details. So for that I have to set up my actions tab and here my action application is going to be Google Calendar. So I'm going to select Google Calendar here. And now I have to give an action event. So I'm going to open this tab and update detail event will be my action event. So I'm going to select this and I'm going to connect Google Calendar with Pabbly Connect. So I'll click here on connect and I have already built a connection between Google Calendar and Pabbly Connect. So I'm going to use this existing connection. So I'm going to click on save and here I have to select my calendar. So I'm going to open this tab and demo will be my calendar. Now I have to give the event ID. So I have to click here. I will open this response of Google Sheets and here this is my event ID. So I'm going to map this. Now I have to give the title of my event. So I'm going to click here. I will open this response of Google Sheets and the title will be team meeting. I will give the description. So this is going to be my description, which is it's a meeting for discussing about the ending of this financial year. So I'm going to select this. And now I have to give the start date and time and end date and time. So in my Google Sheet, I have the updated start date and time and the end date and time. So I'm going to map those details and I'm going to update that in my event that is already has been created in Google Calendar. So I'm going to click here. I will open this response of Google Sheets and this is my updated start date and time. Now I'm going to map the end date and time. So this is my end date and time. And now I have to select my time zone. So my time zone is going to be Asia, Kolkata. So I'm going to select that. So I am also going to update my guest here. So I have to click here. I will open this response of Google Sheets. And here this is my guest, which is dummy@pabblytudes.com. So I'm going to update my guest from test@pabblytudes.com to dummy@pabblytudes.com. So I'm going to select this. And here I have filled all the required details. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on Save and Send Test to Click button. And here we can see I have received this response. So this is a positive response and this means that I have updated the details of my event that has been already created in my Google Calendar account, and I have updated the start and end date and time, and also I have updated the guest of my event. Now to check this, I have to take you to my Google Calendar, and here we can see this is the event that I have updated. So here the start date and time has been updated and the new updated time is 30th of March 3:30 PM to 5:30 PM. And I have also changed the guest, which is dummy@pabblytudes.com. So here my connection between Google Sheet and Google Calendar is working successfully, and as I'm adding a new row with the details of an event that is going to get updated, or we are going to create a new event, then automatically I'm going to update or create a new event in my Google Calendar account. Now let's go back to Pabbly Connect, and here we have successfully built this automation between Google Sheets and Google Calendar in such a way that whenever I'm going to add the details of a new event or an updated event in my Google Sheets, then automatically we are going to capture that details and we are going to update or create a new event in Google Calendar. So let's summarize what we did here. So first I have set up my trigger, and my trigger application was Google Sheets, and my trigger event was new or updated spreadsheet row. Then I have set up my actions tab, and in my actions tab I have used router by Pabbly, and here my action event was conditionally run. And in router I have created two different routes for new event or update event. So if I'm getting the details of creating a new event, then automatically I'm going to create a new event in Google Calendar, or if I'm getting the details to update the event, then automatically I'm going to update that event in my Google Calendar. So this is how I have successfully created this workflow, and you can also create this workflow by following all the steps that I did in my workflow. And I'm also going to put the link of my workflow in the description so you can check it out from there, and thank you for watching this video.
Not just these applications, you can automate and integrate a lot more applications like this by using Pabbly Connect. So if you want to reach out to us, then email us at support@pabbly.com, and if you have any queries, then you can write us at forum.pabbly.com, and if you have any issue with the pricing, then you can visit this link. And if you like this video, then please like, share and subscribe. Thank you.